yeah, darn it. I don't know what else to say about that. Hey designers, today I'm going to take you through what's called an app critique. An app critique is an interviewing tool that interviewers use to assess the way that you give feedback and to basically test your user experience skills. In the case of apps, did you know that 88% of the time that users spend on mobile phones is on an app? So it's a really useful way for people to analyze user needs and problems and all kinds of things that way. So basically I'm going to help you know how to do an app critique in about 6 steps. So I wouldn't even say 6 steps, because really you can kind of assess it in 3 steps with thinking about these 3 other steps of how I would go about it. So step number 1, you're gonna want to try and define what is the problem the app is trying to solve. So for this example, I'm going to be using an app called the Vasa app. Vasa is a gym here in Utah, which I use this app every day. For Vasa, the problem that they're trying to solve is connecting members with their membership. So it gives people the freedom and control over their gym membership by making it more accessible through their mobile phone. The next step in this 3-step process is, who are the users of the app? So in the case of the Vasa app, I would define the users as kind of a younger demographic, but I mean, it's pretty wide. I would say the demographic for our gym that I go to, so Vasa, is 18 to about 45. That's probably the majority of people that are using the app and going to the gym. But again, there are some outliers. There's some older, there's some younger. Kind of depends, but most people that are using the app, I would say, fall between that 18 to 45 range. So after you've defined what the problem is, who the users are, you're going to want to start to think about, how is the app solving the problem? This goes into things like strengths and weaknesses, and this is where you get to kind of really showcase your user experience design skills. So you're going to want to try to go over things like the user experience, what's the user interface like, what's the information architecture like, but so things like UX, like looking over the Vasa app, if you look into the interactions, the signifiers, the experience, the user flow, you can kind of imagine the app through the user's eyes. And then you can also go into things like the user interface, the colors, the typography, the consistency, the legibility. With Vasa, they're very, they have 3 colors. It's black, red, and gray. And those colors are very strong. They're very recognizable to the Vasa brand. They come across strong. All kinds of things like that. The only thing I might even say if I were to critique this app in an interview is I would say maybe it might be good to add more dimension in these colors, because all of the pages start to look the same, and if somebody were going through the app, they might get confused on which page am I on, and because there's only those 3 colors, it's hard to make those distinctions when you're a user. The other thing was the information architecture that I mentioned. You could look into grouping. How are they grouping that information? What's the navigation like? What's the error prevention like? And what's the overall structure of the app? Basically, that's a 3-step process that I use to critique apps. Obviously, you could go into a lot more. Even if this was a longer critique, you can start to ask more questions, try and see what really is working well for the app, what isn't working well, things like that. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more into what an app critique is and how you could really dive deep and figure out how to do your own. If you have any questions, let me know.